the early decades of the Church, when the embers of Pentecost still burned across the Roman Empire, the name of Lucius of Cyrene flickered quietly but with great significance. His life, though mentioned only briefly in the New Testament, reflects a powerful truth that God was calling men and women from every nation and tribe, even from the heart of Africa, to be part of the foundation of his global church. Lucius was from Cyrene, an ancient Greek city on the northern coast of Africa in what is today Libya. Founded around 630 BC by Greek settlers from the island of Thera, Cyrene became a prominent city in the Hellenistic world. By the time of Jesus, it was part of the Roman province of Cyrenaica and home to a large Jewish population. Historical accounts from Josephus, a Jewish historian of the 1st century, confirm the strength of the Jewish community in Cyrene. Many Cyrenian Jews traveled to Jerusalem for festivals such as Passover and Pentecost, and many others settled throughout the Mediterranean world. Cyrene is notably connected to another figure in the Gospels, Simon of Cyrene, the man compelled by Roman soldiers to carry Jesus' cross on the road to Golgotha, Luke 23 verse 26, Mark 15 verse 21. Some scholars suggest that Lucius and Simon may have known each other either through synagogue life in Cyrene or through diaspora networks. The mention of Simon's sons, Alexander and Rufus, by name, especially in Mark's Gospel, suggests they were known figures in the early church. If Lucius was part of the same Jewish community in Cyrene, then his journey to Christ may have been influenced by the same events that transformed Simon's family. In Acts 13 verse 1, Lucius is named as one of the prophets and teachers in the church at Antioch, alongside Barnabas, Simeon called Niger, Manaen, and Saul, Paul. This listing is significant. Antioch was a strategic city second only to Jerusalem in early Christian importance. It was here, not in Rome or Athens, that the first multi-ethnic church was born. And it was in Antioch where followers of Jesus were first called Christians, Acts 11 verse 26. Lucius's role in that church wasn't ceremonial. He was among the leaders in deep spiritual alignment, participating in fasting and prayer, attuned to the Holy Spirit. When the Spirit instructed them to set apart Barnabas and Saul for missionary work, Lucius would have been part of the commissioning, laying hands on them, blessing them, sending them into the unknown. This makes Lucius one of the first mission-sending leaders in church history. His participation at this moment was equivalent to being on the launch pad of global missions. Without men like Lucius, there would be no Paul as we know him, no missionary journeys, and possibly no letters to the Romans, Corinthians, or Ephesians. In addition to his African heritage, Lucius is often associated with Hellenistic Judaism. These were Jews who spoke Greek, were shaped by Greek education and philosophy, and often found themselves at odds with more conservative Hebraic Jews in Jerusalem. This divide caused tensions in the early church but also opened doors. Lucius, as a Hellenistic Jew, could easily relate to both Jewish and Gentile believers. He was a bridge between cultures, a role that proved vital in a faith breaking free from the boundaries of Israel. In Romans 16 verse 21, Paul writes from Corinth, Timothy, my fellow worker, greets you, so do Lucius and Jason and Sosipater, my kinsmen. Many scholars believe this is the same Lucius of Cyrene. The use of kinsman, Greek, syngenes, likely indicates shared Jewish heritage, another clue that Lucius remained a close companion to Paul even during his later missionary journeys. If so, Lucius may have traveled with Paul to cities like Philippi, Thessalonica, or Ephesus, assisting in the establishment of churches. It's also possible that Lucius played a role in writing or delivering Paul's letter to the Romans. That letter was not only theological gold, it was a lifeline to the early Christian world, bridging the law and grace, Jew and Gentile, wrath and mercy. If Lucius had a hand in shaping, recording, or transmitting such a document, his impact echoes through Christian history. Interestingly, some early church traditions, though not universally confirmed, identify Lucius of Cyrene as the first bishop of Cyrene. This would mean that after his work in Antioch and alongside Paul, he returned to North Africa and led the church in his homeland. This aligns with what we know of early Christian expansion. North Africa became one of the strongest centers of Christianity in the first few centuries, producing great minds like Tertullian, Cyprian, and Augustine. Men like Lucius paved the way. Though his story lacks dramatic miracles or martyrdoms, the quiet power of Lucius's life speaks volumes. He was a teacher of the word, a discerner of the spirit, a sender of missionaries, a bridge between nations. He was African, Jewish, Greek-speaking, and spirit-filled. His life tells us that from the very beginning, Christianity was a faith for all people and that the voices of Africans were not on the sidelines, but at the very center. Lucius reminds us that God uses the faithful, not just the famous. He uses the quiet leaders in prayer circles, the multicultural voices who unify, the thinkers and teachers who know when to send others forward. He reminds us that revival doesn't always start on a stage, it often begins in a prayer meeting.